time for Lykken on Lending.
Welcome, everybody. Good to have you with us.
Welcome to Lykken on Lending, a weekly mortgage market update providing up-to-the-minute information on interest rates, loan programs, and hot industry news, all related to the mortgage industry. Brought to you by Transformational Mortgage Solutions. To participate in today's program, our guest call-in line is 646-716-4972. Now here's your host of Lykken on Lending, David Lykken.
Let's begin.
Listeners, I am excited because I have two of my favorite people on the planet here with it. They're fun. I am a fun personality. I like being around people that are fun, but also serious professionals. And these guys are fun, serious professionals with some exciting news we're going to hear about today. Welcome to the podcast, David Savage, no stranger to the world of internet and social media, along with Alex Kutsishin.
It's all the same.
I think I just heard a record player like starting to skip, like a little dance to that.
Well, we're going to leave that right in there because it'll make people laugh. But Alex is just one of those brilliant people that I have gone to for so many times when I'm looking for ideas and fresh thoughts. And so it's no surprise that Alex created just such an exciting product with everyone knows Sales Boomerang. That's his name, Alex and Sales Boomerang. And then also Dave Savage with Mortgage Coach. But there's some exciting things that have been going on with the two of you. We got to get into this exciting news. So not only did you guys get acquired or not, you sold into, or explain that relationship. How did that get? I always mess that up. Let's make sure we get this right.
So I'll tell my version of that. And I think Alex is somewhat similar. I mean, we built, incredible companies that were doing incredible things that were really changing certain parts of the industry in terms of Mortgage Coach, a presentation. And my goal is to completely transform how people get into debt in America. And we knew we needed more capital, we needed more experience. And so we went through a process, and it was just so happens that we both picked the same capital partner, LLR partners. And we didn't even have to work. We could have had, same capital partners that operated individually, but it was just so clear that merging these business and creating something new. This is one of my all-time favorite podcasts because it's the first time I'm on a podcast, and the name of the company is Trust Engine. So
I love it. That's some exciting news that I want to share. So you've already let the cat out of the bag. We've got a new name for the two of you. Alex, weigh in on this. Tell us about why you're so excited about it.
As Dave was saying, it just so happened that we both chose the same investment partner. But in reality, we have been such big fans of Mortgage Coach, and we were already promoting each other's companies. And so it was a match made in heaven. That's why you guys saw when we first announced the merger, you saw this sweetest combination concept, because it is the sweetest combination. And so, it came together like a fairy tale story, right? We couldn't have written it better. We've always complimented each other. We've always enjoyed each other's businesses and always recommended each other. And then all of a sudden we've come together. And this, as you'll see when we start getting into this, 1 + 1 is not 2 here. It's a really interesting compound effect.
What's also exciting about this is you've come up with a new name, and David talked about that just a minute ago, but Trust Engine. Why did you come up with the name Trust Engine? I love what I read into that, but I want to hear your thoughts and share that with our listeners, please.
Yeah, sure. Dave, I'll start and then jump in wherever you see fit here. So we wanted to go back, and this is really what inspired the concept of trust. We went back to thinking, remember 100 years ago, if you wanted a loan from a bank, you walked in, you shook the banker's hand, and the banker said, David, I grew up with your father. I know your family. You're good for it. Let's shake a hand. Go. Here's your loan. You make sure you pay it back in time. Right? Yeah. It was based on trust. You shook a hand, and you know that person was being honest and direct with you, and you were going to take care of the loan that you're taking. And we're like, how do we get back to trust? How do we get back to that? How do we get back to consumers, borrowers, and lenders operating on a level of trust and not a level of salesmanship and fear and all of that? It's like, how do we get back to trust? And so Trust Engine came from that concept of let's be that engine of trust for lenders. And let even lenders say that, hey, Mr. and Mrs. Borrower, we invest in a system called Trust Engine so that we're always giving what's best for you, not what's best for our bottom line. It's always going to give you what's best for you. And that's why it's called Trust Engine. Between us, we're going to build this trust. And so that's the concept.
Yeah, I love that. Stephen Covey wrote a great book. It's called The Speed of Trust. And I think you guys are really pivoting off of that concept, because when we trust each other, a lot of things start moving more quickly. And that is something that's really exciting. But not only did you guys come together with the LLR partnership, but also you've added to your team on the executive side, and they're not in the mortgage industry. I've got to learn about this. Tell us about why and what's behind these new executives that are there. You share why you believe in them, because I know you both do. Why?
So,
Oh, yeah.
So
who are they?
Before we share about our executives, I want to put another little more color around the Trust Engine and why it is so important. At the time that Alex and I developed that name, and as a team, we developed it and brought it to market. From stage, I was sharing the fact that the Edelman Trust Report, or Trust Barometer, which is the world's leading barometer of trust in the world. They measure trust by country, they measure trust by industry. And for the first time in 20 years that barometer has been around, distrust has been the default in America. And this is not just in lending, this is in America. So a lot of it was, that's one of the biggest problems that all industries have right now. And the mortgage industry specifically has that challenge. Because if we were distrusted when rates were in the 2s, in the 3%, what do you think has happened to distrust of lenders, of loan officers, when rates, doubled in a single year? So we just felt like we're solving problems. One of those problems is helping them develop trust at scale. And another one of those problems is, they're investing millions on technology that loan officers aren't using. And so how can we earn the trust of loan officers? How can we, through technology and data, how can we really transform that? And that really led to Alex and I coming together. We were, both the CEOs and co-founders of our respective companies, but to really execute on that vision, we're like, hey, there are leaders in the industry outside of the mortgage industry. So people that have a lot more experience in how big companies, how big tech is turning data into dollars, how big pharma is turning data into dollars, how consumer packaged goods, other industries are doing that. And that really led us to, finding some great executives to bring this to vision. So Alex, how would you talk about the people and the leadership team that we've brought on board?
Yeah, I mean, look, David, both Dave and I are big thinkers. We're dreamers. We're innovators. Like we love living in the impossible realm. Like what's possible? Let's push the envelope and see if we can get beyond what's possible. And so when we came together, if our individual dreams were big, when we came together, those dreams multiplied. And we had this immense mission and vision. And what we said to each other is like, look, we're two big dreamers, and this is a serious concept that we want to put out into the world. Let's look all over the world to find the right people to come in and help us bring it to life. Let's not take a stab at it. Let's just make sure we get to this vision, because this vision is where the industry is going and will be, period, because we're seeing other industries in the world go this route. So that's literally what we did. We went and found the team that has built this data-driven, intelligence-based concept for companies like Uber, Netflix, Starbucks, Coca-Cola, just to name a few. Those organizations would come to Rich Harris, which was our new CEO, and Rich Labarca, who's our new chief product officer, and would say, hey, we have this immense data set of customers and information about them, but could you make it more effective for us on how to target and communicate to them? Basically, make our data work better for us so that we can measure and optimize it. And this is the team we just brought to this industry. So we have all the confidence that what we're going to talk about, again, continue talking about here, is going to be brought to life, because it's already been done. It's already been done by the biggest and the most competitive markets, and it works great.
Yesterday we announced this through some webinars, one to our customer, one to the market. And we also launched a new YouTube channel, the trusted YouTube channel, which will really, my thesis on this is the North Star will be what I call modern leadership for lenders. We are helping leaderships evolve. Part of modern leadership is being data driven. So today, actually, as this airs, I'll be interviewing Rich Harris. He's actually going to tell 3 stories in that interview: how Apple Card, how Disney Plus, and how Toyota, these big brands that he was part of helping, he's going to tell some stories, and we're going to connect these stories, these innovations of when Apple was rolling out the Apple Card with Goldman Sachs, and how they brought it to market and how they use data to do that. So make sure you check out and follow.
Yeah, check out that. Yeah. In fact, if you could send that over, we'll make sure we put a link into this show notes of that podcast, so we can continue to share that out and promote that out. That's good. Excellent. Yeah. I mean, first of all, I want to compliment the both of you, because you both had individually created some successful company. Each of your companies respectively were very successful on their own.
Absolutely.
And it was through partnership between the two of you, and there's a group of us. We are all part of the same mastermind group. And I watched the collaboration, the openness that both of you have. And so I think it takes a healthy ego to get something started, but it takes a intelligence and a recognition to, hey, we're good and we've accomplished this, but what could we accomplish when you go outside? And so I'm kudos to the both of you. When we look at the two Riches, Rich Harris and Rich LaBarca coming on.
LaBarca, yep.
LaBarca. I want to make sure I get that right. Sorry, Rich.
Yep.
LaBarca. Anyway, but Rich LaBarca is there. What is the new view of the industry? Where do you see our industry? Where do they, with their unique perspective, see this industry going in the next 3 to 5 years?
Alex, why don't
Dave, you want to start and I'll jump in? Okay,
I'll go first then. So for me, I've been in this business now for 37 years. And I, at one point in my career, was jealous of financial advisors, because they built up this, this book of business, and they had these assets under management, and they had this predictable, consistent revenue coming in. Same thing with the insurance industry, a book of business. And so I always have had this belief that you can turn a database of consumers into a data bank that delivers a consistent, predictable amount of loans. Now, obviously, as rates go up, there's less loans. As rates come down, there's more loans. As equity goes up, there's more loans. As equity comes down, there's less loans. So, there are macroeconomic trends, but there's a way to predict, how many loans I'm going to get as a company out of that, and do it every year, every month, and we're going to solve that. Like, that is, we're going to help lenders and loan officers get predictable amount of loans out of their databases through just a combination of monitoring, finding the signals, finding the insights, and then educating consumers, helping consumers how to understand how to build wealth with real estate. So I think, in 2025, we will have solved for that. I mean, we're already doing it now, but it's a really exciting time for us. How would you describe that?
So I'd say the future over the next few years is eliminating the need to sell something. Dave, what Mortgage Coach did over the years is show the world that it's possible to put something in front of someone that they can easily understand and build their confidence to make the best decision, and not have any buyer's remorse, not feel like something was like they've been swindled, or they never understood the whole thing. They were just excited, so they signed the paperwork anyway. Like, that part of it has already been diminished.
Yeah, it's trust through knowledge. And that's what Mortgage Coach was doing so well, is, developing trust, but through a knowledge. And that you did such a phenomenal job of David Savage doing that and sharing that. So I kudos to you guys for what you've done again individually. But I'm really looking at forward-looking thinking. Where Trust, agree, is something that's going to be moving the market. It's going to be, it'll be those that try to survive on the old model of transactional thinking. But trust brings you to a new level of relationship. Give some more examples or talk about where you see that playing out as it relates to your two products and how they're combined now with Rich Harris and Rich LaBraca there in leadership.
I think, again, so to kind of finish on that thought is that there's a lot of salesmanship happening. And we know that in sales, it's like a boxing match, right? And it shouldn't be, right? In the industry that we're in, it shouldn't feel like a boxing match. It should feel fluid. It should feel natural. But how do you make it feel natural? What we're going to see over the next few years is, instead of selling loans, you're putting a consumer in front of their ideal product for them. And they're making the decision with you through the Trust Engine platform to go, oh, this is what makes sense for me. And we're actually dissecting personas and analytics and measuring and optimizing. I'll give you an example of what happens in the future. You're no longer just going to be talking to a loan officer that is trying to sell you a loan. You're going to be speaking to a product specialist. David, listen to what I just said. A product specialist, a person that has a catalog of solutions that they know you're a great fit for, and they're going over those with you as a consumer. They're not selling you, they're showing you, but they've timed it properly. They know that you need this, and they know how to present it. But more so, the future lender, the data-driven lender, is not guessing about their business. They're not wondering why they're growing or why they're shrinking. They're actually getting Trust Engine's analytics that says, hey, your conversion rates are down 33%. These 16 branches are responsible for 77% of your drop in conversions, but not the branches themselves, but these 22 out of your 81 loan officers are responsible for the big drop. Let's surround them with information. Let's train them up. In the meantime, let's get your top producers closing these deals while we're training them up. So the whole point is, we're no longer going to have to beg for borrowers to trust us. It's going to become natural. It's going to become something that they seek. They want this experience. Your borrowers want you to know as much as possible about them so you can make the process easy. They're not thinking about Big Brother. They're thinking about, how can I spend more time doing the things I want to do and not have to sit in front of documents and forms and have to explain things? So that is, when we're talking about future casting, when we're talking about what the future looks like, the future is, you have a relationship with a financial friend, and that person is guiding you, and that's it.
I want to add something. This is actually a story that, Rich is going to tell. Rich Harris is going to tell on this interview, so make sure you check it out. But he was helping Toyota. They were consulting with Toyota, and they were rolling out a pickup truck, and it was like, how can we use data to target people that are most likely to buy a Toyota pickup truck? And what they had discovered is that there was a connection with people that were most likely to buy a pickup truck are the people who buy beef jerky. Like, who would have thought? Like,
oh, really? Yes.
True story.
Data, and you found and figured that out. And I think, lending, when it comes to leveraging data right now, is in 1.0, and we're using data. Oh, someone ran a credit report. Let's call them. And by the way, you should do that. And we power that in Sales Boomerang. Oh, data, this one has a lot of equity, car loan and presence of credit card. Hey, looks like potentially debt reorganization or cash out. But guys, there are all types of data signals that we haven't figured out that will help us predict who's most likely to move up into a new home, who's most likely to want to buy their second home, and who's most likely to be a real estate investor. And so these are things that we're going to commercialize at scale, where we've got Rich LaBraca, who was an executive and leader for the Microsoft customer data platform, Rich Harris, who was a senior executive with Oracle and MessageBird. And when I interview Rich, he tells two stories from MessageBird, the Disney story, Disney Plus, and he tells a story about when Apple Card was being launched, and then he tells an Oracle story. So, at the end of the day, when you flash forward as mortgage industry leaders, as lenders, we're going to be able to better predict who's at these different live events, where we can take a combination of, data, signal, educational experience, show them a rep versus like, it looks like there's a first-time home buyer in this household. Let's proactively educate them on how you could help someone in your household buy a duplex, triplex, or house hack. So that's where the puck is going, and that's what we're excited about.
Yeah.
Good.
And,
really good.
And to add, just add a little sprinkle to that. On top of that, you're also going to get analytics on who on your team is best to handle a certain loan, right? Like, what trends are we seeing from your data for you? What we've realized, David, is that no two lenders are created equal. And so this system is designed to discover the advantages of the lender and then maximize those advantages.
And not only the lender, but the loan officers within the lender is what I'm hearing.
Yeah. Yes, that's exactly right.
And the fact that this tool, what really piqued my interest, Alex, I mean, I'm a data geek. I love data. I'm looking at trends and that with the clients that I consult to. And what I heard you saying is you're going to be able to analyze why a particular group that is excelling more, maybe with a product or a particular type of, borrower, and you're going to be able to educate through like what Dave has got over at Mortgage Coach. You can be able to educate up those that are not meeting those same metric levels and performance
100%.
levels. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Fascinating. And which is really getting into borrower intelligence. And one of the things I've always enjoyed about you, Alex, is your brain works like a marketing machine. It's just, and you introduced to me the concept of being a category king. You've always said, Dave, my dream is to be a category king. And it sounds like we're talking about a borrower intelligence platform. Is this going to be your new category? Is this the area where you're going to be the category king?
That's absolutely. You don't see my crown on my head and Dave's too? Come on.
We had the video. We probably look like Burger King, like a Burger King ad there with your crowns on.
There you go. This is it. This is it. Dave and I have the same vision and same belief of being category kings. And not only did we launch the category, we plan on being the kings of this category simply because this is just a pure path.
Yeah. So we got a new name of the company, Trust Engine. We have a new category that you're going to be dominating. That's the borrower intelligence platform with a lot of data, bringing that together. So as we start looking at the lending world, what are lenders doing wrong and what advice do you have for them? And so they don't make some of the same mistakes. Give us share the advice for our lending community.
Well, the first mistake is if anyone, doesn't have a borrower intelligence platform, and you don't have a combination of Sales Boomerang, Mortgage Coach, and now what we call this Trust Engine platform. If you haven't installed it, if you don't understand it, that would be a mistake. But I think, we're at a time where we're moving into a new era. I've been doing this for 37 years, and my entire career in the mortgage business, interest rates have gone down. That was an era, low interest rates, and guys, they went down to 2%. And then the other era is the digital transformation that we're going through, the digital age shift, and that's been an era. But guys, rates have gone to the bottom. So I'm calling it now. It is the data-driven advice era in the mortgage industry, and so lenders need to make sure your loan officers are powered. They've got the tools, and then they have the soft skills. I recently wrote an article around what I call the data-driven mortgage advisor compass, and it shows the four pillars of what it means. But I think the biggest mistakes is lenders, one, sometimes they don't have the technology. And then two, they're not being, aggressive enough and strong enough to train their loan officers to be that loan officer of the future. Like it's just not the same. Being able to pre-qualify a borrower and close a loan on time and solve transactional problems of a loan, it's just not enough anymore. Loan officers need to become advisors. And so the combination of arming them with the technology to do that, and then training them so that they have the skills and the habits to be that digital driven mortgage advisor. I think that's one of the biggest mistakes they make right now.
That's great. Alex, that's great. Yeah. What I would say, first of all, I don't know, David Lykken, have you put together the acronym of Borrower Intelligence Platform? BIP?
No.
What does everybody want in this industry? More BIP. The biggest BIP in the world is now available.
Yes, of course. There you go. Yeah,
The biggest BIP. So what I would say is there's still a lot of intuition driving decisions in the industry, tons of intuition. And so I think one of the biggest mistakes and the things that people have to be careful with is stop using intuition when data and intelligence is available. That's all. I'm not just saying about Trust Engine. It's not about, hey, we're talking about what is the mistake that lenders are making. The mistake they're making is they're making decisions from gut and saying that's gospel. And so a lot of that creates errors. And so my biggest advice to you lenders is where you can have access to data, use it. At least use the data to then make an informed decision, even if some of that is going to be gut, but use information, use data, use things that are proven and that you can scale to run your business. And then the last thing I'll say, the biggest mistake is stop letting every single person on your team do their own thing. Come up with a model. You want to be in our company, you follow our process. No more 35 different technologies and 18 different ways to approach a call. Everyone needs to play for the same team or change the team. That's my other second advice.
Yeah, that's great.
I want to drill down on something Alex said, because as we were designing this borrower intelligence platform, that's a big part of our value proposition is data first. Because to Alex's point, most companies are buying technology that automate what vice presidents of marketing want to automate, or buying technology that loan officers want to automate. And by the way, we need to do that. So by no means are we saying stop doing that, but you need to invest, in what is the data telling you to do from a data first mentality, so that the data is driving that. So I want to put an exclamation mark on that. And then I also want people to look at your technology, and I want you to look at your practices and what you're automating. Is it data driven or is it intuition driven? So really good point.
So in November of 22, we had a lender out of the Northeast contact us and say, hey, we need to cut back on expenses. We're having real financial problems. We need to be really careful with our finances. And of course, we're a great partner. And we said, okay, let's talk this through. And this is pointing exactly to the intuition over data. We ran a conversion report. Okay. When we spoke to them, they're like, look, we don't think we're getting what we need out of this. This is a real challenge. We probably need to cut it back or turn it off completely. And that was a gut. Remember, we don't think we're not, this is what we're hearing. It feels like, and all of a sudden we ran a conversion report for them, David. This is what we do for our clients. We run conversions so they know where every dollar is going. 28x for every dollar they invested in 22, the entire year of 22, for every dollar they invested, they got $28 back. And so all of a sudden they're like, whoa, the CEO was like, no, we can't shut this down. This is incredible. Why would we even think of shutting that down? And so they're up, and actually they've added a lot more records, and they're growing as an organization. So my point is, truly, if you use your gut, if you ask a loan officer and he's like, I don't really use it, or, I don't remember the last time I looked at it, and you go, that's the entire company, big mistake. When you hear somebody say something like that, start digging into the data, then make a decision.
Yeah.
Take one person's, thoughts.
The facts are in the data. Yeah. Data doesn't lie. Numbers don't lie. That's exactly right.
That's right.
That's really good. Okay. So you guys have both been successful in your own regards, separate. Glad the two of you are together. So we're expecting a real synergistic lift here. But what advice would you give to those vendors out there that on adoption? Because a lot of people struggle, whether it's internal within a mortgage company, adoption of technology that they're trying to push out to their loan officers, or just for the tech companies that are listening to this. What advice do you have for better adoption?
So Alex said part of it. It's know the data, educate with data. So for anyone that's followed me, I've been very passionate. Having a YouTube channel. Helping top producers for many years, the Mortgage Coach YouTube channel. And we're going to continue to have that channel and help top producers and managers of loan officers with best practices on how to win. The Trust Engine YouTube channel is going to be dedicated to modern leadership for lenders. And you'll hear me talk a lot about, like, when it comes to being a modern leader, there's a lot of legs to that stool, but some of those are transparency, it's being purpose-driven, and it's being data-driven. So, my message to the vendors out there, my message to any executives that want to drive more adoption, we've got to do a better job of doing all of those things. I think we do a great job of scorecarding production. Like, hey, loan officers, look who closed the most loans and look who closed the most production. And we can celebrate that. We can see that every day, every hour. That's loan officers go there to see that. But you know what? Why aren't we being more transparent in scoring price exceptions, profitability? I always think of price exceptions as your sales skill, conversion. So I would just push everybody. We need to know the data. We need to educate with data, and then be purpose driven. Like our Mortgage Coach, we were dedicated to really reshaping how people got into debt with advice versus price. Now we've got even more clear with this new platform, Trust Engine, that all borrowers can achieve financial freedom. We've got a really compelling, exciting value proposition that goes beyond the profits of the platform that we sell. And so I would push everybody to do that. When you have purpose-driven culture, when you know your numbers and you're educating with your numbers, adoption happens, success happens. Alex, how would you answer that?
I think that's great advice. If we're to answer two questions here, for lenders to be able to create adoption, and more importantly, utilization, right? Adoption is knowing and utilization is using. Adoption is knowing the system exists. Utilization is using the system that exists. And so to have success in adoption and utilization, it comes from the top. It means that as a leader, you're not asking your branch manager to get your team rallied and fired up about this. The CEO, the president, the VP, the SVP, you're standing up and you're standing next to your partners and you're wrapping your arms around your technology partner and you're saying, hey, team, this is what's going to get us to the next level. And here's why. And then you're expecting your managers and regionals to continue to push forward the adoption utilization. But what's missing today is leadership standing up and saying, this is our way, right? The Mandalorian, this is the way. And so we need more of that. We need more. You want adoption utilization? Your teams joined you because for who you are, what you built your companies to be. And when you, the leaders, the CEOs, the founders, the owners of these companies, everyone looks up to you there. Be ready to stand up and say, here's what we're fighting for and here's why. You're going to get adoption utilization more than you can imagine there. So that's for the lenders. And of course, make sure you have this is very important, make sure you have a plan with your technology partner and set expectations on how you're going to increase adoption over time, because we know it's not going to happen overnight. So you must have a plan. You both, you, the lender, you, the partner, together. Here's how we're going to get you there, right? And so, of course, we're offering this advice, David. That's what we do, and it works, which is why we have such high utilization. So on the vendor partner side, technology side, I kind of gave you guys the blueprint already. If you want people to use your product, use your solution, come up with a plan, a roadmap on how you will get people to adopt it. And then keep the lender accountable for driving that forward. Do not let the lender make you the only reason people use, adopt, and work with your system. Make sure the lender, the owners, the people that we just talked about, they're also driving the exact same agenda. So they hear it from you, the provider, but they're also hearing it from the owners. That's how you keep it accountable for both sides, and you will see adoption and utilization go up.
Good. Appreciate it. Okay. I'm looking at both your websites. They're both up and running, Mortgage Coach and Sales Boomerang. They're both, I love both these websites. They've got so much great content. Are they going to be going away, or how are we going to see the brand? How do we look for you? How do we find both of these powerful services?
There's going to be Trust Engine. It's up now. TrustEngine.com is up, so you can go there and check it out. So Trust Engine is up. And Sales Boomerang and Mortgage Coach websites are going to stay up for the time being. As you can see, it says Mortgage Coach by Trust Engine, Sales Boomerang by Trust Engine. And so you're going to be able to find our brand and our services on all three of those domains. And then at some point, we're just going to bring everything under the Trust Engine brand so that you go to one place. But for now, since so much of the industry and so many of our customers and so many of the people that are looking at our companies are used to those brands and are going there to get content and information to make decisions, they're going to stay up for now as well.
Congratulations to both of you on individually building great brands, great products, and now coming together, true synergy taking place, and some new leadership. I'd love to get Rich Harris and Rich LaBraca on a podcast and let's make that happen. I'd love to get their insights.
Well, first of all, you can count on getting both of them on a podcast. And Rich LaBraca joined us in July. Excuse me, Rich Harris joined us in July, and Rich LaBraca has joined a few months after that.
Okay, good. Well, I would like to get an interview with them together on the podcast. Here's what I'm looking to learn from it. What are we missing? I've been at this for 50 years. Hard to believe. You've been at it for 30. What does he say? 38 years, David?
37. Let's
37.
Age me more than every time.
And we got Alex is still the pup, young pup with all the energy in the mix here.
2,000 days in this industry.
2,000 days. Oh yeah, I love how you. Anyway, what I would love to do is get their perspective, because what are we missing? We've been looking at this for a long, long time, and sometimes we get myopically focused on something. I love to see what Rich are going to be bringing and what we can anticipate. This is really exciting. We have a new category. Borrower Intelligence Platform, and we have a new company name, Trust Engine. And it sounds like, Alex, you had one more thing you wanted to share with us.
Yes. So I was just going to say, it's not what we've been missing. Timing is everything, right? You guys, we all probably forgot about the product from Microsoft called Zoom because it was too soon and it wasn't thought through and it wasn't timed properly. And so the beauty of this is the timing, the way that the technology is there, the data is there, and now we have two experts who have done it in the most competitive spaces, bring in that same philosophy here. And so it's just timing. It's not what the industry's been missing. It's timing, and and now the time is here.
Well, congratulations again to both of you. I'm thrilled to see two great friends working together under one roof. And I'm expecting even greater things from the both of you, and now combined in the new Trust Engine. Congratulations. Love the new name. What a joy to be with the two of you. Always enjoy my time with you. Lenders, check this out. Technology companies, pay attention. We've got a new engine in the marketplace, and it's going to be something we could all be learning about, because I think trust is the speed of trust, as Covey wrote so many years ago, was such an important part of it. That's where we're going. Thank you both for being here. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you for your leadership in the industry, David. Appreciate you.
Thank you. Appreciate you both.
Thank you.
Have a great one.
You've been listening to Lykken on Lending, a weekly mortgage market update with your host, David Lykken of Transformational Mortgage Solutions. Join us next week, and thanks for listening.